looking at your future, you will you ever consider looking at another office to run for, maybe in California?
Well, speaking of California, may I hold up my new book? It comes out. It comes out November 7th. As you can see, it's called "As Goes California: My Mission to Rescue the Golden State and Save the Nation," and it's about what one-party rule has done here in California. Democrats have dominated both chambers of our legislature, the Senate and the Assembly, for decades. People like Gavin Newsom have been elected, and as a result, people are leaving California for the very first time in 170 years. We've had a net population outflow of almost 500,000 people, and the primary reason that people leave, as they say, is the cost of living. They can't afford a home. The average price of a home in California is about 175% above national average, largely because Democrats are in bed with the environmentalists, and for reasons that are all over the place. They don't want to allow any kind of construction. So there are millions of housing units that would otherwise have been built had it not been for the power that environmentalists have in stopping any kind of construction here in California. Gavin Newsom has banned the sale of new gasoline-powered cars by 2035. He has supported soft-on-crime policies like Proposition 57 that says that no longer is rape of an intoxicated victim a violent crime. It's now a non-violent offense. I kid you not. Assault on a police officer is now a non-violent offense. Serial arson is now a non-violent offense. Gavin Newsom set up a panel for reparations. He set up a commission to determine that a third party is going to determine the wages for fast food workers. You name the brain dead policy, and he's backing. One recent one, Sarah, you like this one. If I asked you what is the purpose behind an Amber Alert, you would say, well, it's to let people know that a child is missing. What's the purpose behind an Ebony Alert? Gavin Newsom just signed a bill for an Ebony Alert because obviously Amber Alerts are just for white kids. And we want to make sure that when a black kid is missing, people know it's a black kid. So therefore, we now have Amber and Ebony Alerts. I kid you not. This is the identity policy, race conscious Democrat party that we've had here in California now for decades.
Now, if I understand correctly, Ebony Alert also has a different age range attached to it as well, and it does include young adults over the age of 18. So it is slightly different from an Amber Alert. Just that we've had lots of coverage of that in the last couple of weeks. Now, I want to
why in the world, Sarah? Why in the world do we have to have a special alert for Black people? Why? You're implying that you don't care about Black people, so therefore you're going to have the racist authorities focus on Black people when these racist authorities otherwise would not, as opposed to firing the racist authorities if in fact they're racist. It's just ridiculous. It's as ridiculous as reparations. California wasn't even a slave state, and reparations is the extraction of money from people who were never slave owners to be given to people who were never slaves. It's the same deal. Gavin Newsom also signed a bill that requires publicly held corporations to have at least one member of the LGBTQIA plus community on their board of directors. It's clearly a violation of the 14th Amendment, yet he did it anyway.
Now, you clearly still have strong feelings about how Governor Newsom has run the state of California. Does this mean you would consider trying to run against him again?
Boy, Sarah, you always ask the question. If you don't get the answer, you're going to ask it another way. I love that. I don't know. I'm 71 years old. I guess that's young now for politicians these days. I'm still energetic, but it's ruling in California. A Republican has not won statewide in 20 years. Now, we did have a recall of a Democrat governor back in 2003 when Arnold Schwarzenegger took over, but since then, there are now 5% more registered Democrats. There are 50% more registered independents. And in California, even the New York Times said independents vote Democrat. There were 33% fewer registered Republicans. So the battlefield is daunting to run a statewide campaign and win. So I'm not at all sure that I have the energy and desire to put my hand in a garbage disposal like that and suffer the adverse effects.
What about a smaller garbage disposal? I hate using that analogy, but I mean, what about a House seat, maybe even a state seat?
Well, for now, I'm going to be pushing a political action committee called Enforce the Law to get rid of these soft on crime George Soros-backed DAs. And they're all over the place, in San Francisco, in Chicago, in New York, even in Des Moines. And as a result, people are not being prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. There are bad people who are out in the streets who otherwise shouldn't be out there. So I'm going to be doing that in the short term. It's called Enforce the Law Act. And I'll be raising money to do that, hoping to get some of the other candidates, including President Trump, to back that. And then, of course, I'll be promoting my book, as I said, called As Goes California. It comes out on November the 7th.